You're listening to What's Hot on NCCU AudioNet.
It is What's Hot with Shamai Cook. I am Shamai Cook, and I have a special guest today. You may know her. She is actually a journalist. She is actually an internet sensation. You know her as Auntie Bev with the vocab. I call her Auntie Bev, the vocab queen. Okay, it's Miss Beverly Mahone. Welcome to the show, Miss Mahone. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming on the show. This is such an honor for you to be here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. After spending like 30 years interviewing other people, it's odd to be on the other side. And I'm not really big on doing interviews, but okay. I said I would do it for you.
I greatly appreciate it so much. First of all, a lot of people don't know that you are a journalist. People know you from your internet sensation. We're gonna get into that a little later, but let's start off there. You went to Ohio University. You got a degree in journalism, and you been a journalist for over 30 years, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Talk about what made you want to get into journalism. Talk about that.
Well, I'm dating back to the 70s now, so at that time I didn't see any stories of people who looked like me.
Okay.
And I wanted to be able to tell those stories.
Wow, okay.
So I was encouraged and motivated to do that at a time when affirmative action really was almost at its peak, where, it was easier to get jobs that weren't given to us because of race or ethnicity.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was my main reason. I just wanted to tell stories.
Wow. Okay. So you worked at WTBD for 5 years.
I did.
Talk about your experience there. That's in North Carolina here.
That is correct. I worked at also WNCN, NBC 17. I worked there when I moved into this area.
Okay.
Well, actually, I worked at NCCU first.
Wow. I did not know that. So you worked at Central first, then you went into television. Okay.
And then I went to ABC 11. But my experience at NCCU was as news director.
Okay.
And that was really a wonderful experience because I got an opportunity to work with young people who wanted to do what I had done.
Wow.
And some brilliant young people came out of that 3-year period where I was there, working with them. It was just incredible.
Okay.
So from there, I decided to move on to television, to try my hand at television.
Okay.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
And went to NBC 17, where I worked on the assignment desk.
Okay.
And as an assignment editor, it was my job to find the news.
Okay.
Or to research information people was submitting to us.
Gotcha.
To make sure it was legitimate. They're just not crazy. This is not a dog chasing or an ambulance chasing story.
Gotcha.
So I had to do that. And I learned to really love being an assignment editor because it really helped me to hone in on my research skills even more than I felt I already had.
Wow.
And then I moved from there to ABC 11 because they made me an offer I could not refuse.
Got you. Okay.
And it was an opportunity to move into a similar position, but to make more money.
Got you.
And at the time, ABC 11 was the number one station in the market, even though I know WRAL likes to claim that they were. But and at the time, ABC 11 was much more diverse.
Okay.
Than the other stations.
Gotcha.
So that was great.
Talk about how do you feel about how journalism is going now? A lot of people, claim that they are journalists without the credentials and without having that degree and having that experience. How do you feel about, different people get into this field but not being, having the proper credentials to say that they are a journalist?
I have to tell you, I'm real disappointed in the way journalism is going because I think right as I was, venturing out of the business, the professional side of the business, I started to see the pretty faces.
Got you.
They want to, because they look cute or they are very handsome or they think they speak well. And they just believe that I would make, or not I, but you know, that they would just make such a presence in front of the camera.
Gotcha.
Without really doing the work. Because there is work in being a really good journalist.
Yeah, it is.
It's not just going out and getting the story and then putting it on the air. You have to really dig deep and try to get to the heart of the story as best you can. And there's always two sides. And the other thing I say, there is no such thing as objectivity. No such thing. I don't care what story you go into, you have an opinion. And a lot of times, those opinions tend to seep in to the story. Some people masquerade it better than others.
Okay.
And if you have a good editor or a good news director, they'll be able to pick up on that. Can I tell you a quick story?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I won't say his name because he's still in the area. When I was at NBC 17, this is how a leopard shows its spots. We all knew he was racist. We all knew he was racist, okay?
So this person is still on air today?
Well, no, he's not on air today.
He's not on air.
But he's representing the Republican Party. Let's put it that way in the state.
Okay.
And
all right.
That's all I'll say about him.
Yeah, okay.
People who know probably know who he is. Okay. So we all knew he was racist. We all felt that way. I mean, he would say little things and we'd be like, oh, okay, you know, and Jesse Helms was one of his favorite people. Well, one day he was called to do a live shot in Raleigh.
Okay.
And it was an African-American event. And he said, during the live shot, he said, these people are so colorful. Now,
he said that on live
television.
Oh my gosh.
And oh my God, the news director didn't seem to think that there was anything wrong with it, but of course we all raised a lot of sand about it in the newsroom. So when he got back, she had to call him in her office. Okay. Yeah. So he allowed his own personal feelings to seep into the story. Now, it was a colorful event.
Okay.
But I don't know if you say these people as if you are separating yourself from them.
Wow.
These people.
Yeah.
We all know that this is an African-American event.
Yeah.
So you're referring to these people. So yeah, there's no such thing as objectivity in journalism. I went around the block to say that, but there really isn't.
Okay, I appreciate that. Let's get into, people might know you. Well, people do know you from your great vocab videos that you post on social media, on Instagram, and you have 656K followers on Instagram. Talk about what made you want to start doing these type of videos.
I had no interest in doing videos.
Okay.
I promise you, I had no interest. But I'm trying to make this long story short. I had lost my job during COVID.
Oh, wow.
It was an educational job, and I had lost my job, and I needed to figure out some way to generate some income.
Okay.
And my grandson, who at the time was 15,
all right,
suggested that I go on TikTok because he had heard that, people can make money on TikTok, and he thought I would be great, introducing vocabulary words to his generation.
Yeah. And
I said, absolutely not. That, I did look at the platform, and I thought it was just such a time-consuming, sucks you in for hours and hours platform, and I just didn't feel that I wanted to be a part of that.
Okay.
And plus, there were a lot of young people. Well, he kept saying, Grandma, I think you'd be great. The kids will love you. I mean, you're funny, you're this, all the words.
Okay.
He said, just try it. So for my grandson, because I love him dearly.
All right.
I said, okay, show me how to do it. So we went to the dollar store, bought this red little hat.
Okay.
And then he took a picture of me and uploaded it to TikTok and said, don't tell my daughter or my grandson, but Grandma has just joined TikTok. And that was
it.
How I started.
Wow.
Yeah. And from there, I really didn't know what I was doing. And I still don't on TikTok. Because TikTok is crazy. I mean, young people are brutal.
Yeah.
I had a lot of kids saying, Grandma, go back to Facebook.
Gotcha.
Why are you here?
Gotcha.
Oh, no. So anyway, he then told me what I should do is cross over onto Instagram.
Gotcha.
And showed me how to do that. I did not know how to do that. So he had to show me.
Okay.
And then from there, I spilled on over into Facebook.
Got you, because Facebook is owned by, Instagram is owned by Facebook. So
Yeah, I
it's the same
didn't know
thing.
that
You
at the
know
time, but
you,
I know
okay.
it now.
Got you. So you talk about people, saying, go back to Facebook, and how do you deal with those negative comments? Because everybody has something to say. Like, everybody has an opinion nowadays.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that? Even though you're doing something positive, and especially in the Black community, we need something like this. So how do you deal with the negativity?
Well, first of all, I have thick skin.
Okay.
You have to really say some things to really get me to the core.
Okay.
So what my grandson showed me how to do was to block
Okay.
the negative comments.
Got
Just
you.
block people.
Okay.
So we were doing that for a while, and then I just said, well, no, wait a minute. They have a right to an opinion as long as it's respectful.
Okay.
So if you say something that might be viewed as negative, you may not know how to articulate it
Okay.
in a way that someone like me could appreciate.
Okay.
So then I had to respin and rethink how I was going to approach it. So now when I get the negative comments, I kind of give them a little sass back. I do. And I drop, one young person, and I know they were a young person, and so I knew they were young. And what they said, when I went back and I said, that was such an asinine comment. When you can put a complete sentence together,
Yeah.
then let's have a conversation.
Okay.
So yeah, I give it back to them now because I'm figuring, what you gonna do? Unfollow me? That's fine.
You don't care.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm here for those who want to be educated.
I-
That's why I'm here. Other than that,
Oh, okay. So like I said, you have 656,000 followers on Instagram. Do you ever go into like a grocery store and get recognized?
yes,
Like,
yes.
like a supermarket, like you just go and get some milk and get some eggs, and like, this minding my business, and say, oh my God, you're the lady from TikTok. Can I get a picture or something like that?
Yes, I all the time. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, just the other day, I was at the gym, and I said, "Oh, let me run over the food line real fast."
Okay.
And just, I had this hat on,
Uh-huh.
glasses,
Yep.
and I was looking terrible. So I was like, "I'm gonna run in and out. Nobody's gonna see me."
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I walk in the store, this man said, "Oh my God." You're Auntie Bev on Instagram. I was like, oh Lord, no. And so I couldn't be rude,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
And then I was seeing the Total Wine, right? Buying some wine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm really trying to be mindful of what I do in public, because people. But at this point,
Yes.
look,
Well, you're minding your business. Like, you're minding your business. This is your personal life.
Yeah. And someone said, "Aren't you that vocabulary lady?" And I said, "Vocabulary? No."
Oh, you probably trying to play dumb. I like that.
No, I said no. And
Cause confusion.
She said no. She said, "But you know what? Your voice.
It
Your
sounds familiar.
voice. Your voice. I just know that voice." And I said, "Really?"
Oh my God.
So yeah. So eventually I did in fact acknowledge the fact that I was.
Okay.
My next door neighbor was selling her house.
Okay.
And the real estate agent, her real estate agent, a woman I did not know, I had come out the door. And
Gotcha.
so she was standing from here where I'm sitting to the door.
Okay.
She looked up. I looked at her. She said, "Oh my God, you're the vocabulary lady from Instagram." And I said, "How can you see that far? How can you see that far, right?" I didn't have my glasses on. I couldn't even really see her.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I get it all the time. We go on vacation. We've been in airports. I was in Jamaica.
Oh my God.
In Jamaica.
You're international.
Oh, well.
You're
I
international.
was in Jamaica, and this man walked past me, and I saw him look at me, and then, I just kind of ignored it. And then he walked past again, and then he said, "You know what?" He said, "Aren't you Auntie Bev? I just saw a video from you." He was watching a video in the airport. And we got to talking, and I was like, "But I'm in Jamaica. How would you recognize me in Jamaica?"
Listen, you're international. That means you're doing something special.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So with these vocabulary words, these had to come from somewhere. Did you have like an English teacher that you loved that inspired you to do like these type of English stuff, like learn new words?
Every English teacher I've ever had, Shemai, has inspired me. Every
Okay.
one of them. I mean, even from grade school. I mean, I just took to English, and I don't know why. Maybe because I love to read.
Okay.
I love to read, and I was always competitive in reading because in elementary school they broke you up into groups.
Okay.
So if you were in the Bluebirds
Yeah.
group, you were in the best reading group.
Wow. Okay.
And at the time when I was in second grade, for some strange reason, and I'm not gonna say it's racism, but anyway, for some strange reason, I was in the Redbirds, which was the group right below the Bluebirds.
Okay.
And I really wanted to be in the Bluebirds. I wanted to be in the Bluebird reading group because I felt I was that good. Miss Malone, she wouldn't move me up. One day I went to the library. I got a fourth grade reading book because they were all,
Okay.
divided by grades. I took that book home, started reading it. I went to her one day, went to her desk with that book, and I just stood there and I started reading.
Wow.
And
Out loud or like to yourself?
no, out loud.
Okay.
I was that child. Okay. Before ADHD, I was that child.
Okay.
And she didn't, if you knew Miss Malone, she was older and she really didn't ever have any expression. But she said, okay, Beverly, you can go sit down now. And I said, okay. And then when she called up the Bluebird, she called me up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was so, and then from there I learned the power of words and being able to articulate your thoughts and ideas with clarity. And at that point, well, maybe not at that point, but I'd say probably about 5th or 6th grade, I started keeping a little journal of words and books that I liked reading.
Gotcha.
Then when I got to high school, the journals increased. And by the time, then I stopped for a long time when I was in college. I don't think I did any real journaling for words. Then when I got out of college and became a professional,
Gotcha.
then I continued the journals again. And it's funny to go back now and look at some of those old journals and the words when I was, in middle school.
Yeah.
What words you were stumping me then, like belligerent. Now, I mean, there's nothing to say belligerent, but at the time, at that level, I did not know. So I had to write it down and look it up. So that's what I've done for the past 40, 50 years.
Wow.
And I will say this. I met Maya Angelou back in 1981.
Okay.
She came to Boston
Okay.
and she stopped by the radio station I was working at the time. And she said to me at that time, keep a journal. Same thing she told Oprah. Yeah, same thing she told Oprah. She told me before she told Oprah, okay? She said, keep a journal. She said, because you will see your growth.
Wow.
In whatever it is you're doing,
Okay.
you will see your growth. And she was right on the money.
Spot. Yeah, that's why she's a legendary.
Yes.
She's a legend. Talk about how vocabulary is so important to you. Why is it so important to you?
Vocabulary is important. It shouldn't just be important to me. It should be important to everyone. Because as I said earlier, it really does help you to communicate effectively. Knowing the right words to use in the right situation.
Okay.
Because when we're with our friends, we speak one way. I know it's, we talk about,
It's like a code switch.
it's a code
Yeah.
switching, right. And that's okay because we have vocabulary for that. When we are in a professional environment, we can't take the words we use with our friends and try to put them into the corporate environment because, first of all, they're not going to view you in the same way
Absolutely.
they would if you had a higher vocabulary level.
Yeah.
I just say knowing how to communicate, using the right words always puts you ahead of the game. Always.
Gotcha. Okay. Talk about how important vocabulary is in a young person's life, like people in college. Let's say from the age from high school all the way to college. Let's say that. How important is vocabulary to us in our demographic?
It sets you apart. It sets you apart from everybody. And the one thing that I hate to hear young people say and write when they write me is that they feel that they get picked on.
Yeah.
they get bullied because they're trying to sound white.
Wow.
Honey, there is no such thing as sounding white, because I've heard white people who cannot speak a lick.
Wow.
Okay, so let's just keep that real.
Okay.
There's no such white language.
Okay.
And I just believe that when you can communicate with the right words, it really does set you apart from everyone else. I work here at the writing studio on campus, and when young people come back to me and say that their professor was so impressed with their essay or their research paper, and they thank me, it's because they tapped into what they needed to write in order to make that essay understandable, to be readable. Because I tell every student, when you write a paper, you are writing for the reader. You have the knowledge, but you got to make me understand it.
Okay.
And if I have the vocabulary, I'm going to understand what you say.
Absolutely.
If I don't have the vocabulary, I'm not going to understand what you say, but that's okay too, because that's my fault.
Yeah.
That I don't have the vocabulary. So I say young people need that arsenal of words, because at the end of the day, when it's you and somebody else, take race out of it.
Yep.
If you can bring it with your vocabulary and somebody else can't, you win every time.
Okay. What's the biggest vocabulary in your biggest word in your vocabulary?
Okay, so the biggest. Well, let me rephrase. Let's rephrase that. What is the most important word in my vocabulary?
Yes.
Okay, I actually have two.
Okay.
The first one is indomitable.
Okay.
Indomitable means you have a never give up spirit. No matter what's going on in your life, you remain indomitable. You're not giving up. And I used to look in the mirror every morning and say I am indomitable, because some mornings I didn't want to get out of bed. Some mornings I didn't want to do a video. Some mornings I was like, oh my God, honey, leave me alone. I'm just like over this. But that indomitable spirit reminds me that no matter what's happening, I'm going to continue to persevere.
Okay.
The other word is equanimity. Now, some people pronounce it equanimity. I say equanimity. And that is like indomitable, but it means just being calm in difficult situations.
Okay.
So finding that meditation moment where you can just exhale and say, I have found equanimity in what is happening around me. So those are my two power words.
Listen, this is great. This is great stuff. What is the hardest word to remove from your vocabulary?
And so.
Okay.
And so it is the worst. I'm conscious of it. When I say it, I know I've said it and I can't take it back.
Yes.
And so.
That's like for me,
Okay.
Yes, like yeah, like that. Yes. So it's hard, but it's.
There you go, but
Yeah. you do it, but not even
realizing
you
it.
realize like you're doing it. It's like, oh my God. Well, yeah.
I'm terrible. And so, yes, I just when I do teaching online, right, I always go back and review what I did, and I always count the number of times I've said and so, and it's like, oh my God, I did it again. One time in an hour, it was a 90-minute class, I must have said and so 50, 60 times. And yeah, it's a habit. It's a hard habit to break.
I know I'm gonna wrap it up in a few minutes. Talk about what made you want to come to be an educator and be in higher education, because you started off as being a journalist, right? What made you want to come to being in higher education and giving back actually your knowledge to younger generation?
That's an interesting question, because I don't know if I actually sought this job out. There's a backstory to how I got my job at NCCU.
And you've been here for 5 years.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't know that. You've been here for 5 years.
I've been here 5 years. My next door neighbor is the reason I have this job. Well, she's not my next door neighbor anymore. She moved. She's the reason I have this job.
Wow.
Because there was an opening and she thought I would be great for it because she knew that I didn't have a job and I was just kind of like hanging out, retirement, traveling, doing whatever. And she went to her boss, God, I can't think of his name at the time, but anyway, and recommended me. And they had to, do some things. I won't go into great detail here, but I'll give a shout out to Dr. Karen Jackson. Okay. Because Dr. Jackson interviewed me and hired me right on the spot.
Oh, wow.
And so, no. And then, so the rest is history.
Yes.
But yeah, that's basically how I got this job. But I tell you something, to help young people find their unique voices in writing gives me a thrill every day. Now, I'm not the easiest person to work with.
Okay.
Let me just issue that disclaimer for anybody who wants to come and work with Auntie Bev. I'm not the easiest person because I expect you to tap into wherever you need to go in order to pull out what you need to pull out in order to make your writing better. I challenge you. One young lady told me that, how did she explain it? That basically I hurt her feelings. Well, okay, I apologize for hurting your feelings. What I'm trying to get you to do is trying to get you to comprehend what you need to comprehend in order to have a successful paper. But let me also, can I just say another thing about professors? I don't know who listens and who doesn't.
Yeah, right ahead.
Professors need to understand that young people will struggle in writing if they don't like the subject. If
That
you
is
don't
true.
like the topic, you are going to have a very hard time trying to write about it because it just doesn't interest you. I can't tell you the number of students who've come to me. They don't know the subject. They don't like the subject. They don't really know how to research it, and they just don't want to do it. So now all of a sudden, we have to find a needle in a haystack in order to make something happen.
Yeah.
If the student enjoys what they're writing about, they will do a much better job.
Wow. Okay. What's the word? Before you go, I'm gonna let you go. What's one word that explains that we should use going into the holiday season? Around family. What's one word that we should use going into the holiday season?
Okay. Well, well, let me ask it this way. Is this for you need to get stuff off your chest?
How about that? Yeah, because holiday season, there's a lot of debates come up, and not in my house, but I'm not speaking for myself. I'm just seeing a lot of other people, get into a lot of debates when it comes to sports, politics, and all that stuff. So, what is one word that we should use in a polite way to express ourselves?
Okay, so in every family gathering, you always have that one person who seems to know everything about everything. I don't care what you say, they
You're right,
can talk about it. They know what happened, when it happened, why it happened, who did it, and the outcome. Those are ultra-crepidarians.
Ultra-crepidarians.
Yes, those are the know-it-alls. So, Uncle Joe, you don't have to be an ultra-crepidarian today. You really don't. You know what?
my
We
God.
got this. Okay, it's cool.
I'm gonna say that I do. My sister, I'm the oldest of four, so I'm gonna say to my younger sister, you don't have to be an ultra crepidarian because you don't know everything.
Yeah, right. No one knows everything.
Yes.
So yeah, that's one of those words. Now, this is a funny. Well, it's not funny because it's not really funny. One year, this is when my grandmother was still alive.
Okay.
So we talking about years ago now. I said, we were at the dinner table and she was just, dictating, like, get this first, get this next. We couldn't just get what we wanted.
Gotcha.
You got to get the corn, the potato salad first. You got to get the collard greens next. You got to get the turkey. Then you got to get the mac and cheese. We couldn't just pass it around, right? Okay. So I said, Grandma, you really are being a Harridan today, aren't you? Now, Grandma did not know what that meant, but coming from her granddaughter, Beverly, she said, I know you saying something smart out your damn mouth. She said, I don't know what that means, but I know it's something smart. Well, Harridan is a word for a bossy, domineering, older woman.
Gotcha.
A Harridan, a grandma. So yeah, I haven't used that word since.
Do these words just come to you, or do you look them up?
Okay, as far as introducing the vocabulary words, if I'm out in public and I see something, it's like, oh God, there's a word for that. Like I was in Kohl's and it was just chaotic. And I said, vexation. Oh, there's a word for that, right? I just whipped out my camera phone, stood in the line with all the people around me and did the vexation.
Auntie Bev speaks.
Yeah. So, and then one time we were in a traffic.
Okay.
And
oh yes, I remember that. I think I saw this. And you stood out in traffic. And
yes.
I think I saw that.
Somebody said, well, you did two words, traffic congestion. It should have been gridlock. Okay, yeah, whatever it was. But you got the point.
Yes, I got the point.
So yes, a lot of times I am in situations where, oh my God, there is a word for that.
Yes.
And I'll get out and I'll whip out the camera. A lot of times too, I just go to my little journal.
Okay.
And pull out a word.
Wow.
That I don't think anyone knows. Sometimes they do. And then I'll just,
like Samaritan. I remember, I think it was recently you were in Walmart. And
yes. I was so, I was kind of offended by that.
Wow.
Because.
Okay, I got a question. Was this gentleman white or black?
He was black.
What?
And he was young.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I went home, my husband said, well, men just don't want to feel like they're getting charity from women. And I was like, first of all, I'm old enough to be his grandmother. So if I'm trying to be nice, I mean, it's not. I was really taken aback by that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now I've been in other places where I've just was in Harris Teeter. This has been a couple of months ago, and the lady behind me, I don't know what she was complaining about. She was complaining about something. So as the cashier was ringing up my food, I said, just take hers and just put it on my bill, right?
Oh, okay.
And so she did, and then I walked on out the door. And my husband and I were getting in the car. And the lady ran out the door. She said, oh my God, I didn't realize that you had paid for my items. And I said, well, yeah, because you were so busy back there complaining about something. I said, I just wanted to make your day a little bit easier.
Oh, wow. That's so nice of you.
But yeah, so, God has blessed me in ways financially by doing social media, right?
Yeah.
So he's blessed me, and even though, of course I receive it. No, I receive it all. But I believe,
as you should.
But I do believe in giving back.
Yeah.
And I just believe the more you give, the more you do receive.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm gonna call you Auntie Bev, the vocab queen. Okay. Wait. First of all, where can people get to know NCCU students? Can get to know like your office stuff, and because you're a writing consultant here. So how can people get in contact with you if they need help with a paper or something like that?
Right. Okay. So the thing to do is just to contact the writing studio, and that number is 560-6035, I believe. That's
Gotcha.
The writing studio. I work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. That's probably going to change next semester, but that's when I'm working now. And understand we're getting ready to end pretty soon, right?
Pretty soon, yeah.
But yeah, that's how you can reach me. And if I can give a shout out for my website.
Go right ahead. Okay. Yes, tell everybody your information and everything.
So my website is all words with a Z, and I've never understood why it's not spelled WORDZ.
Excuse me.
But okay.
Yeah.
allwordsmatter.com, and it's a coaching website.
Yep.
There is a membership fee, but there's also a lot of other free things that you can kind of browse through and see what's going on, and you can shop for any of my ebooks. I just taught a How to Curse
Oh
with
yes,
class.
I saw that. I saw that on
Class.
Instagram. Yeah, with class.
And that went really well. And now I've created a How to Curse with Class calendar. So if you need some of those words to help you over the holiday season, you can go ahead and order one.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of it. I mean, I'm just really thankful and blessed. And if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, I sincerely appreciate it. And it is always my goal to help you build your vocabulary. I will say 60 to 70% of the words you may never use, but I promise you, if you hear it in a conversation or if you see it in writing, you'll say, oh, I remember that word. And it will help your comprehension so much.
Okay. Can you pick a number between one? Cause you have a calendar to give away.
I do.
Can you pick a number between 1 and 10?
7.
All right, caller number 7. You get to call it. Caller number 7 will win Auntie Bev's vocabulary calendar for young adult edition. Caller number 7. It is what it is. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Auntie Bev, the vocab queen. I'm gonna call you that. It's What's Hot with Shamai Cook.
You're listening to What's Hot on NCCU AudioNet.